Thank you. Do you know who's going to win tomorrow's game?
Yes.
So do I.
Yes, you do.
So, since I started listening to you the day my mom had a stroke, those next 3 days were tough. But since she died, I mean, it hasn't been tough. I feel her with me every day.
Yeah.
And make me forget what I was going to say. But that's the thanks I have for you, because
when those you know and care so much about make their transition, they are really aware of you. And when you can tune into them, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
I should have made a list because I forgot.
It's all right.
I feel her, and I want to feel her more, because when I feel her a little bit, it feels great. And some days I feel her more, and I mean, what do? Do I go buy a Ouija board? Do I get on a typewriter like you? I mean, I want to feel her more.
Here's what this is all about. You said that your relationship with us, or with this understanding, started about then. And that's a very common thing, because most people, we've been talking about this already just now, most people are really involved in the manifestations of their lives. You've got jobs and people and places to go and things to do and so forth. And so that's sort of what your world is about. And most people are so busy living the action part of their lives that they are not really aware of all of this more that they are, and all of this more that they have access to. And so such a wonderful thing happens. And almost always, most people begin thinking their first thoughts about really caring about their connection with all of that when someone that they care about makes their transition. So in your mother making her transition and you turning your attention there, you're not being called to tune into your mother. You're being called to be aware of the non-physical realm where your mother is.
But she is a spiritual guide, right? I mean, she's guiding me. I can ask her anything.
Absolutely. But what we're getting at is we want you to think in terms of the whole of what that non-physical is, not just that your mother went there and now you're talking to her.
Can I talk to you the same way I talk to her?
Yes.
I mean, I heard you say it on YouTube, and I feel like I have. And
that's the point that we're making. You see, a lot of people, they acknowledge that there must be more than this physical stuff going on. It just appears logical. As brilliant as you are, you haven't managed to scrape enough dirt together to launch a moon or anything, or another planet. So you know that there are big things going on, and that there is consciousness that is even beyond the things that you're thinking about on a daily basis as you're moving around together here. And so you want to believe that there's something more, but until you're really asking in a personal way and receiving, then you don't know. Then you're just sort of having to take somebody else's word for it. We talk to you a lot about things that we know will be of value to you, but it's just so many words. None of this is really going to be meaningful to you until life causes you to ask for something that you can't find your way to, and you'll meditate on a regular enough basis that you get the progressive value of it. We'll talk about that. And then you receive something that when you follow it, it gives you the evidence that makes you know, and then you're not just taking somebody else's word for it. Because those things that are happening to you all the time, you call them fate or luck or chance sometimes. In other words, you don't understand that it is consciousness that is aware of you. And so it is so fantastic when you, in your humanness, realize that everyone who's ever been in physical form, who has reemerged into non-physical, is now forward-looking with all of you. And that when you get on a vibrational wavelength where they have value to you, they flow right in and you receive insight that you can't even explain where it came from, and you don't need to, because it's just the renewal or the continuation of all that is. Humans don't realize that this is the leading edge. It's the leading edge of creation. Humans have convinced themselves in very large part that this physicalness is separated from that, and it's here in your unworthiness, in your sinning, that you prove worthiness so that you can return to that. And nothing could be more backwards. You are extensions of that. And you came to express in specifics while all the non-physical cadre is here expressing with you and through you. In other words, we are all in this together. And so when you acknowledge that, but you got to tune to it before you get it. Don't take our word for it. Show it to yourself.
I don't need to know how to explain it, but people want it explained to them, and so maybe just stop talking to people.
Sometimes you find yourself in conversation with someone who is asking something that you know. And while you can't explain it in its entirety, you can explain as much as they're ready for. This is the way it unfolds. We've often told the story of how sometimes, especially when someone that you love has made their transition and you're overwrought and out of sorts and you're reaching for something that you can't find, sometimes your dearly departed will flow thought towards some critter or creature who's in your vicinity, and they'll fly in or crawl into your experience and just look at you to get your attention. And sometimes you can feel the meaningful timing of such a thing. So it's a very common thing for Source and your dearly departed to utilize the benefit of these physical non-humans who are in the receptive mode and who hear the impulse and who follow through with it right away. You get lots of good interaction like that. Are you aware of it? But it's not just the non-human critters that are inspired like that. It's human critters too, who are in the receptive mode. So very often you get an impulse to be somewhere because someone has sorted out that you would be beneficial to them. We've told this story and many of you have heard it, but it really speaks so perfectly to this. Woke up one morning and meditated, and coming out of meditation, she had an insatiable feeling to sit with her sound system and figure it out. She didn't know how to operate it. And so she figured it out. Just pushing a few buttons. It just came so easily to her and so intuitively to her. It had seemed so complicated, and now suddenly it was simple. It was as if somebody knew how to do it, and now she was doing it, and now she knew how to do it, although she wasn't actually translating it in that specific thing, but that's what happened. And so she discovered that she could make the sound go into the gardens and into the courtyards and into all of the rooms in the house and out in the speakers in the bushes and in the speakers in the overheads. And now she found all these different genres of music, and so she's listening through them and playing with the volume in all of the rooms. And then she discovers rap. And she liked it, and she turned it up, and it surprised her. And what she was hearing, she wanted to move to it, and she felt so excited about it. And so she spent quite a bit of time just playing with that. And then she was satisfied with that, and she went on about her business that day. She was alone most of that day. And then the next morning, she came out of meditation, and she just had this insatiable urge, irrationally so, that she wanted to move her furniture around in her house. And that furniture had been so carefully placed, every piece of everything, right where it needed to be, and suddenly it all looked wrong to her. Everything needs to go somewhere else. And so she thought, I need someone to help me with this. So she got online, found two men in a truck, called them, asked how fast they could come. They could come really fast. They came over to help her move her stuff around. And so everything looks really good where it is, and they're kind of wondering, who are you, and why do you really want things moved around? And Esther said, well, the guest house is over there, and some of what's up here might need to go down there, and some of what's down there might need to come up here. I'm not sure. We'll just kind of move it in order to see. So they just started moving things from place to place. Had a really good time, and Esther was enjoying them, and they were enjoying her, and they thought she was a little odd because she was having so much fun moving things around that didn't look like they needed to be moved around. And she said, in fact, I think I'd like this rug in that room and that rug in this room. So that meant take everything off, all of the rugs, and switch the rugs to the different rooms. And the rugs looked so much alike, but there was something about that just seemed like a really good idea to her. And so she got to know these kids, and they're wanting to know her, and they're talking about the beautiful day, Southern California. It couldn't be more beautiful. And then one of the young men said, I'm leaving. And Esther said, why? And he said, I'm moving to Alabama. And Esther said, why? And he said, because I'm a rapper. And Esther said, hold on a minute. So she went into the other room, pushed her buttons, and suddenly rap is playing really loud everywhere. And Esther is practicing her new moves to her rap. And his eyes are really, really big. He can hardly believe this is happening. Esther doesn't look the part, but she's so into it. And he said, "What do you do?" And Esther said, "I'm a teacher." And he said, "What do you teach?" And she said, "Rap." And then she said, "No." And so she's got books and recordings and things around on the shelves. And so she began talking to him about it. She wanted him to understand he does not have to go someplace he does not want to be in order to get what he wants. So what we're getting at is, don't you think it is a clever universe that knows that he's out there somewhere in the city, and that knows that Esther is there somewhere in the city, and knows that he has a question and that Esther has an answer, and finds some very clever, inspired way to get the two of them together? Don't you think that's a wonderful thing? And don't you know that's how it always happens? That's how it always happens. You are teachers and students to each other. You are givers and receivers to each other. But you got to be tuned in and ready to move.
That's been my life the last 11 weeks, but that's without meditation. So I'm wondering if I can learn to meditate, because I can't quiet my mind yet.
All right, so here it is. Meditation is this. There's less than 2 minutes, and that's all it's going to take to explain this to you. We don't need all this time. It's so simple. We only need a little bit of this time. The purpose of meditation is to quiet your mind in order to allow your vibration to rise, in order to be in the receiving mode, the replenishing mode, the information mode, the joyful mode, the blending mode, the connection mode, the inspired mode, the blissful mode of connection with who you really are. Quieting your mind only means focus on something that doesn't stimulate your mind. If you don't focus, your already stimulated mind will continue to do its work. But if you do find something to focus upon that's really not interesting, listen.
But if I'm not married anymore, no, I'm just kidding. I get it.
You hear it? You hear it? You hear the air moving through the vent? You hear the motor? What part of it are you listening to? There's air moving through a vent. There's a little sound coming from the speaker. There's a motor. Isolate one part of it and focus on it. Don't focus on that clearing throat over there, or that over there. Just isolate something and focus on it. And when your mind wanders, and it will, focus back. And when your mind wanders, and it will, focus back. And in a little while, your mind will be still, because there's nothing to think about with that, but it is something to focus. You could focus on a flickering flame. You could focus on a dripping water faucet. Esther downloaded an app called Rain Rain that has all kinds of sounds on it. White noise, pink noise, brown noise, central air conditioner noise. Waterfalls, her mind wanders with the waterfall. Thunderstorm, her mind wanders with the thunderstorm. Whales, her mind wanders with the whales. Central air conditioning, just right for Esther. Boring, something to focus on, and right away, her mind quiets. And as soon as your mind quiets, your vibration rises. Now, here's the thing. And this is what you're trying to say to us that you didn't even know you were trying to say. When your vibration rises, this mind won't be so quiet. You see what we're getting at?
I do. I feel it.
For several weeks, when Esther was meditating and letting her vibration rise for us, we were expressing vibrationally to her. And she thought it was her own mind chattering, because your own mind is the translator of it. So you have to know the feeling of detachment. And then when thoughts begin to come, you can know that you're in the receiving mode of those thoughts. But the key is, don't reach for the thoughts, because your mind won't quiet. If you try to reach for the thoughts, now your mind isn't quiet. Now you're wondering where the thoughts are, or whether you're hearing them, or whether you're making it up. Let your mind really be quiet. Let that be the only thing that matters to you. Your inner mind will take care of the rest. You don't have to do the thinking anymore. Your job with meditation is to stop the thought. To stop the thought, because when you stop the thought, you stop the resistance. And when you stop the resistance, your vibration rises. And when your vibration rises, Your vibration has risen, and when your vibration has risen, you're in the receptive mode, and then. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.